disposing of players and disposing of managers. We're doing a lot of trash talking this week on the Indie Ball Report podcast. All right, back again, 243 episodes later, here we are. We got dispersal drafts that may be called disposal drafts, which could be dispersal drafts, but they're a draft nonetheless, in a sense, I guess. What do you think, Ryan?
I think if you don't get drafted in the dispersal draft, then you're dispersed. That's how I meant to end that sentence. Got distracted. So, yeah, is that a fair way to say that? I mean, I don't want to disrespect nobody, but it's just my thoughts.
I personally viewed like disposal as like players that are left over, as they just put them like one of those comedic cannons, that they launch clowns out of, and they just shoot you into like the Chesapeake Bay. I'd like to believe that's what they're doing.
See, I can think of disposal without a garbage disposal, which has a much more violent sort of vibe, but maybe not more violent than a cannon. So,
I mean, depends.
I guess in summary, up to interpretation.
Well, see, in the nature of, like, say, the context of a child's movie, I feel like the garbage disposal is far more intimidating and menacing than a cannon that appears to be far more slapsticky,
Well, you know what to say. You only got to stick your hand in the wrong garbage disposal once.
And see, this is the kind of discussion you get on this show, kids, on the most esoteric show that discusses independent league baseball on I was going to say frequent, but let's be real, semi-frequent basis.
Semi-frequent, especially depending on the time of year.
Oh, especially this time of year. Because we're going to process. Because more important than this dispersal draft or the manager hirings and firings and extensions and court cases and ChowdaHeads, more important than all of that, we're picking a hockey team today. So
yeah, man, we'll have to make sure we keep this thing moving so we actually follow through on that, because I can see us definitely getting distracted.
We definitely could. So let's stop getting distracted. Let's talk about the Atlantic League having a dispersal draft for Spire City for their 1-year hiatus club, because they had that today. Everybody, but I believe it was Lancaster and Charleston, made a pick. Some people took 1 or 2 guys. Others took 3, but that was the max taken. Overall, there was one notable name not taken, but that was because they were part of a player to be named later trade. At least it would appear as of now that was the case. Obviously, the names you expect to go, Jose Marmolayos, which I always mispronounce, so we're just going to keep running with that, and then Ryan will correct me later on. Man. And that's how we'll do it. He goes to Lexington, so hopefully he doesn't sign there. I'd like to see him have a future. Dustin Begg, supposedly back to Lexington again. I don't see that happening again. I think he had enough time the first go around, but I'm not the Lexington expert, so I won't comment further on that. Leo Cabrera went number 1 overall to Hagerstown. Max Profs also goes to Hagerstown as well, so they just kind of got to go semi down the road, I guess, in the nature of geography. Stan Island got guys like Craig DiDillo and Matt Rietz and Medoro also, so good for them. Rowdy Reed, he doesn't have to go in the stands, but he does have to go out into the middle of nowhere, known as Waldorf, Maryland. Long Island gets Luke Becker, Neveraskis, and Victor Capion. York got Donald Goodson, who I believe is the hard thrower, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's the one that...
yes.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, he had a down year last year, but I'll bet on anybody who can chuck a fastball,
Yeah. Eddie Diaz, Theo McDowell, and Nate Peden go to Gastonia, and High Point will get Osvaldo Abreu. That's the situation on that draft. That was one that was fun to wake up to and just have in my emails that a dispersal or disposal draft had taken place. So that's the situation there for Spire City.
I love the different lives you lead. You woke up to it. I was spectating on it live on Twitter while
it pays to be
at work
bum.
like an adult.
Well, see, this is your problem for not being a bum.
And not do your actual job.
You should have just been a bum like me, and then you could have slept until 1.
I'll think of that next time. I'll see how my wife feels about that for our mortgage situation.
See, mortgages are just a scam. Don't trust the federal government.
Oh, bro.
I just realized I was saying that to the libertarian.
Yeah, right? Come on, man. I'm way out there. Versatile draft. There wasn't, it's hard to tell because, like, you don't know what guys, thinking or what his vibe is on things. If Cabrera sticks around and goes to Hagerstown, it's a good get for them.
Yeah.
And Marmoleos and them, all good. The Dustin Beggs Lexington thing might make some more sense than you think because he did go to Kentucky, so he's a Lexington guy.
Yeah, but I mean, that is a shit show over there for now.
Yeah, we'll see where that lands. We're still getting rumors about what could be going on over there, so we'll see. That's another conversation. But they, everyone keep an eye on Lexington. Something interesting could happen, or not.
All right.
Yeah, man, nothing really else. I mean, again, it's not like Spire City was, run the world and full of MVPs. I mean, they were a solid roster for what they were dealing with, but like dispersal draft wise,
there's pieces there to be had.
How many guys are upgrades? Yeah, exactly. There are, and especially going into a year. I mean, it's good to have guys with experience who are good enough to hang in on a roster for the year. Going into camp, that's a good thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, the point kind of, when it always comes down to this, and like New Britain was the same way on this, where it's like, look, you just can't really tell like who wants to be where. And I mean, like some guys I'm sure have other options, right? Like, if Leo Cabrera doesn't want to go to Hagerstown, he'll have a job either somewhere else in the Atlantic League or in the American Association, or possibly over in Mexico too. I mean, I'm sure he could get something there as well after the year he had. So even like the Dilo too. I mean, dude hits for power. If he doesn't want to be in Staten Island, he doesn't have to be. So
right.
That's just kind of the situation there. So it's always hard to really judge him. I'm trying to think here because I may be blanking on it, and it very well could have happened. I just don't remember. Was there one for when Sugarland and Somerset left, or were those guys just free agents? I can't remember.
I thought there might have been. Let's think here. Checking if I jotted something down about that. Yeah, I don't know if there was. I can't find it anywhere in my like archive of articles. And yeah, I mean, all I'm getting is the bees and all the way back to the bluefish. And for the skeeters not to show up in the middle is kind of weird.
Yeah, like I don't remember there being one, but I thought there very well could have been. Just like in hindsight, they probably could have just assigned players to from say Somerset to Charleston, and then from Sugarland to Lexington. They could have also done that, but it feels like they were just kind of like allowed to be, which if that's the case, it feels like a little bit dishonest to then in turn be like, hey, we asked you guys to take a year off. You did that. Now the guys that were playing for you, tough, you're getting dispersed. As opposed to just letting them pick where they want to go.
Yeah. And like, I don't know how I feel about that because my initial instinct is I hate it because it's like, well, these guys signed up to play in Frederick and now you're just sending them wherever. But I try to slow down and remember like, yeah, but they could have been traded at any time. And additionally, they, like any other player who has been traded in the off season, they can decide not to play for that team and maybe they get traded again or released, or they wait out the period that they have to wait out in order to become a free agent for Atlantic League teams, or they sign another league. So I'm trying to remind myself, like, it does feel like wrong, but that's how things work. And look, I mean, if this was, an NBA team, I feel like they do dispersal drafts for teams that fall apart. I'm trying to remember the last pro sports team that needed a dispersal draft.
I mean, it's been a minute. Like, teams generally don't fold anymore. I mean, like, aren't the Twins and the Expos going to fold, like, back in 2003 or something?
Maybe? I don't know.
Like, I feel like they were at one point. Like, during that weird period, like, for a hot minute, the Giants were going to go to not San Diego. They were going to go to Tampa Bay.
It might have been.
Like, I vaguely remember this.
I might be. I mean, they're like since the 50s. I'm not sure that a team has for like actually folded up, but
it had to happen.
Someone's like, I know. There's someone. There's someone out there just yelling like, I know the answer. You guys are idiots, but
like that's why you come to this show though, to feel better than the host.
Fair enough. I don't. In summary, I'm not sure how close they came. That's something I don't totally have them.
wrapping up this discussion on this dispersal draft, any real other major thoughts that we have on it? Obviously, Cole Cottom being unselected because he was apparently traded for Johnny Turbo is a bit of a surprising thing. By the time this comes out on Saturday, I'm sure we will have, well, I'm not sure we'll have gotten to the bottom of it, but I'm sure people will be aware of that being a point of contention. So I'm not sure if you want to talk on that or not, but it was interesting that that was the trade, especially when it was.
The quick version of it is that, you know, Cole Cottom, who is the best catcher in the Atlantic League last year, was not available in the draft because in late October, about a week ago, he was traded to Long Island. Wasn't clear if that was for a player to be named later, rather to conclude a player to be named later deal. And the only open deal between Spire City and Long Island was for Johnny Turbo, who had a good year. I mean, yeah, had a good year, but he didn't play much. He was released eventually by Spire City. So it would just be, I didn't even think at first that it was possible that that was what that trade was, you know, finishing that off because it's so lopsided. It's a outfielder who was released after about a month to the best catcher in the league. And it apparently was. From what I hear, multiple teams aren't thrilled about it. It was an issue on a league call at a point. And the ongoing thing that I'm trying to resolve is that they said, so by that I mean whoever was speaking on behalf of the league in a league call, seemed to indicate or straight up say that Mark Minicozzi was the one, conducting this deal, the last year's Spire City manager. But based on the fact that that's a month, he would have been doing that trade a month after the team was disbanded for the hiatus. And
presumably not employed.
Yeah. So I've asked around to more front office sources and multiple, every other team with a source I've spoken to has said, yeah, it wasn't. I mean, they said that they all confirmed that was said, but they also said they have reason to believe that it was not the case. So this was something done at either a higher level within the Frederick organization or basically around Frederick entirely, or with perhaps Minicozzi in a position where he just had to go, okay, sure, or he couldn't say no. So I don't know. That's the still unfolding part of this, but definitely some feelings, man, some strong feelings on that one.
There definitely is bonehead. So there's two media comments I had. One of them is a very unserious comment, which is immediately all I could think of was remember the old about a week ago? That. So,
yeah. I haven't said, it's been years since I've said about a week ago without thinking of that in my head.
Yeah. So that was the immediate first thing that came to my mind. A. B. Just to really kind of impress the importance of Cole Cottom, it'd be, awesome. Maybe the most catcher name from Boston. If you were to tell me.
Yeah, feels right.
Yeah, just my boy Cole Cottom down there. He plays over there in Newport for the Gulls.
Threw a bunch of pitches. Guess what did? He caught him.
Hell of a ball player. But
I also love that I every time write Cole Cottom with the K and the C flipped. It's K. It's Cole with a K. It's Cottom with a C. I'm 0 for 70, I think, at this point.
Oh God, there's a really shitty '90s rap to go with. It's Cole with a K and Cottom with a C. Don't be lean.
I hate that. To be clear, he's from Knoxville, by the way, so it's not like he's from Boston.
Well, that's
just wore a Red Sox hat in his baseball reference.
Long Island, I'm sorry, you got to move this dude to New England. It's got to happen. Which also he would tear up the Frontier League.
Got to hear that awful accent.
Yeah, we got to get that going, first off. But secondly, just to impress his ability, I think it'd be pretty fair to say he was the second best catcher in indie ball last year, behind Chris Herman.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, because Herman was, I think, importance to team and also general ability. You're trading the second best player at his position across the 4 major leagues for a dude that had a good year, but is not going to make anybody's top 25 list for outfielders, I think, in either league.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
So, it's not just a deal that would be lopsided, a bad trade. It's just there's some questions to be asked here. It's like trading.
Yeah, and that's really it. And all I've gotten was, and it's annoying. I hate when something's small. Like occasionally, like the thing with indie ball reporting, unfortunately, and always, for anyone who follows me, when I throw something out as, just, hey, this is interesting, or side eye emoji, or rumor says, for the most part, that is, I'm doing the best I can to be accurate, but I'm still looking at sometimes with the weird sourcing and indie ball and how sources can disappear or come and go, and it's the off season. Sometimes you got to put something out there and just see how close you are on it. But I'll always note when it's like, I know this, or like, this is what I'm getting from sources. That's a very different conversation. And I do hope that at first, because I had some fair bit of confidence, and this is just from me, that this was not a player to be named later deal, because it just didn't even seem realistic. And it was, and I know we had a couple of comments, even from Michael Pfaff, that said, well, it's a player to be named later deal. I'm like, all right, so like, let's not I hope the fact that I was, incorrect in my assumption will not throw off the look that is deserved to be had at this deal of like, wait, okay, that doesn't justify what just happened. Yeah. Especially when, again, at this rate, 4 different teams in the league talking to me about it who are not happy. So I suspect there's more.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to go overboard on it, but it does seem like it's always similar players involved in this. Not, players, but like people involved in it. It's always similar. And so, like, when it happens frequently, you got to ask about it. And like you said, it's just such a lopsided deal that it just seems so out of character for it to possibly be a player to be named later deal. I mean, like, it's possible. It just doesn't really feel that way. So, and like you said, it's hard to really nail shit down in this area. With all that said, I think we've pretty much managed to talk enough about this dispersal draft. Hopefully it gets edited together to be coherent. And the side tangent on Gary Bettman, a possum, and the definition of ombudsman hopefully are not too distracting to the overall edit. So that being said, you mentioned legal terminology. That's going to be important for this next bit because Tri-City's lawsuit against Major League Baseball and the Houston Astros has been settled. The case was set to go to trial in 9 days from the time where this first released. We don't know the amount. We do know that it was an antitrust case. The team wanted that to go to the Supreme Court to challenge the antitrust exemption. And they were seeking $15 million as part of that suit. But it was, quote, amicably resolved, according to the Valley Cats attorney, James Quinn. MLB will manage to protect its antitrust exemption here. It doesn't particularly relate to indie ball, I don't really believe, but it is important because one of the more major teams on the circuit now has a lawsuit resolved, and it does directly go back to that culling of about 40 minor league teams as well. So it wraps this up for probably some undisclosed dollar amount, which is good for the Valley Cats, but it also has some sort of effect because, again, the antitrust exemption still exists.
Yeah, I mean, I think where it would reach indie ball is more that antitrust exemption continues to also allow control over not only over players but markets. So for a new minor league team to join, I believe this is still how they're operating. Like basically, if it's within a certain number of miles of another minor league team, like there needs to be approvals from like every team involved. Essentially, it's a whole thing. So like that kind of affects indie ball teams that might be looking to go affiliated. Beyond that, also might point out, I think it points as well to what MLB seems to be working toward on the partner league. The antitrust exemption, doesn't do you any good with teams you don't control. But if you have some sort of control over them because they're a member of a partner league, then I think that allows you to have a tighter grip. So that's always been my theory on what MLB is doing with the whole partner league scheme. Take it for what it is. I believe in it. I will probably die on that hill if I wanted to, but I don't think I have to because I think it's fairly obvious that's what they're up to. But also that's why, if you get screwed over by MLB and you think you have any sort of antitrust exemption case, absolutely pursue it because they do not want that thing going to court. So it was a strong situation for you to probably get paid. And I mean, take them for what they're worth. Screw it.
They got plenty of money.
I'm not a big MLB guy. I don't like the league office over there. So I'm like, well,
see, I feel like it used to be fair.
If they want to be greedy pigs, then cut into them.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I feel like MLB used to be better when everything was kind of separate still, where you had like a separate National League office and American League office, and Major League Baseball was just kind of like we're the unifying entity, but there's still two separate entities involved in it. I miss those days.
Well, diversifying is good. There's a reason Madden has sucked since they got rid of 2K or whatever. It was 2K, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was 2K.
Yeah, for NFL licensing, it used to be 2K.
I mean, it's dumb as hell, because they don't really share a market, but, you compete for TV time, especially nowadays. I feel like if the AL and NL had separate league offices, which I think technically they still do, but, like, they're not empowered that way.
See, I thought they got combined.
Independently.
Yeah. Because I know that happened with MILB. They got folded into the New York office.
Regardless, but you might be right, and I'm over my depth on that one. I feel like I saw they still do, but I could be way off on that. I could imagine it, but I look at so much old baseball stuff. I could just be thinking of it. I mean, yeah, they have an honorary president, which
great. You have something to put on a resume.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bill Giles, so I don't think he needs one. But
yeah,
who we got? And the American Association doesn't have. The American League doesn't have one, so continuing though, I do just think it would be good. I think it'd be interesting if there were only so many TV spots, and the owners in the National League really want as many of those primetime spots as possible, and say with the owners in the American League. I'd be interested nowadays to see what would happen, but I think that's also consciously part of the reason why that's not been a thing for a very long time, and is still not empowered to be a thing, because they don't want that, because that would start to cost them extra money. Instead, they can just be a monopoly of sorts. And
I mean, not really of sorts. They are.
They're the only thing. Yeah, it's gross. And I hate it.
They have the exemption for it. So, anyway, any other further thoughts on Tri-City? Good for them. They get paid, and they don't have to really eat any more court fees. Good for them. Their attorney just made probably about $5 million. 30%.
I love you think of it that way.
30%.
Yeah. And look, I mean, that's good also for the stability of the organization. Like, that's always good. Like, any sort of money going in on organizations is a good thing, just to keep everything stable, keep everything moving successfully. It's good. And already shows, I think they were a great move by the Frontier League, especially to extend them.
We'll move on to New England, because they have named finalists. None of them are the Brockton Brawlers. I'm deeply upset about this. Instead, you have the New England Nor'easters, the New England Grinders, the New England ChowdaHeads, the New England Knockouts, and the New England Chowda Monsters. Chowda Monsters can go ahead and immediately see itself into the trash bin, along with Nor'easters. Grinders is kind of funny because I feel like there's a whole nother realm they can go on that one.
You got to assume that's not going to be it, unless they go like an full open fan vote. That's not a good idea, dude.
Yeah, it's actually a horrific idea that they should really just throw in the trash immediately. So that one's bad.
We did get, following up on our prior conversation, we did get some additional info. Both of us did. The stuff that I got was that the high school there is already named the Boxers. Ownership already announced that they're going to be a New England team, so that's what we get for trying to shoehorn in the Brockton thing and different things. And that I did mention Bill Murray and people had been associated with Brockton, but apparently it's been like a decade plus. I don't know. Things aren't updated on every website, so we were just scrolling at the time. So that's on me for just reading and going, I think this is a thing, but apparently it's not.
Also, you got to keep in mind here, people. A lot of times we're just freeballing stuff. I think we do a pretty good job of making the line we're very confident in this thing that we're actually reporting, and just we're having a fun time with this thing. It's like when we just throw out random places for expansion. The ones we're serious about, we have logic and reasoning and whatnot behind. The ones we're not, we're just I wonder if that's viable. Maybe,
Yeah, man, I'm with you. it's what I think we do an okay job of being like, hey, like I have no reason to throw this out there, but I'm just thinking out loud. Like,
yeah,
we're just reading on the fly, trying to learn as much as I can about a topic we accidentally stumbled backward into mid-episode, which is about half the topic.
See, so like we try. It's just like every so often, it's not like, like there's a good mix between serious and unserious, and then just outright off the rails discussion here. So like some of the stuff, let's be realistic about here. That said, yeah. So New England Knockout's kind of cool alliteration, kind of like it, but it's also extremely generic. So like, it does play on
have the boxing connection. Yeah, I get it.
It does get a plus there. Grinders, I'm sorry, that's way too close to Grinder, which I don't think we really need to be naming a team after. Although Couples Night could be phenomenal, and depending on how gutsy you're willing to get on promotional work, there's a lot that could be done there. So that's that. I do look at ChowdaHeads though, and it does feel like a very modern minor league baseball team name.
Yeah, it does, right?
Yeah, like I'm kind of upset I didn't think of it because it does kind of work. And like, I like a team name that's a little bit more serious than that, but I also understand that's not really what's in vogue, so I'm not going to force that on, anything. So if we're going to go more like the lighthearted way, ChowdaHeads, it's kind of perfect, actually.
I like the feel of it. I like it more than Chowda Monsters is too much going on.
Yeah, it's trying
to ChowdaHeads is a good feel. You already got the two name, New England going. I don't like 4-word team names. I know we got a bunch of them going right now. I think people's attention spans are trash. Like, on any given thing, people might read 5. Like, the numbers are like, it's 5 or 6 words. If like somebody sees your marketing and like just like a graphic, they might read 5 words before they scroll. Like, you're using 4 just for your name. That's my thought process. But yeah, I like knockouts, but I feel like it could, blend in and not stand out when it comes to like the local, population, which I think they really need to work to get.
Yeah. Plus,
ChowdaHeads does have a feel. If you name a team the Knockouts, they'll go the local news stations that you invite to the rollout will go, hey, the new baseball team has a name. If you call it the ChowdaHeads, it'll probably get shout outs on most sports talk radio and like every morning news program.
Plus, it grabs the attention better too. Like when you say New England Knockouts, it just kind of flows in there. ChowdaHeads, it sounds good.
Yeah, as long as you can do a cool logo, which
I feel like you could do like some sort of.
I was thinking like a baseball head with like a cup of chowder or something.
See, I was thinking
There's
like
definitely a way to do it.
Yeah, is it a cup or a bowl?
Yeah.
Because like if it's either way, like I'm just gonna say a bowl. Like I'm thinking like maybe a bowl with like a spoon and a bat in each hand and like kind of an angry face, like some kind of like styling off of like the Montgomery Biscuits type logo. I feel like it's the way to go with it.
Hold on, I have something here.
Yeah.
The Professional Box Lacrosse Association already has a New England ChowdaHeads.
Really?
So I'm gonna bet they don't go that direction. Spelled differently, maybe that's intentional.
That could be it.
So, now let's really read tea leaves, right? So we can either say, I don't think it's going to happen because it's too close, and it's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Mm-hmm. Or they intentionally already made the decision to go ChowdaHeads, which I think it takes a little bit of time to reach that maybe, because they want to go with that name, and they know they have to avoid the ChowdaHead thing.
I think that, I honestly feel more like the latter, especially because it feels like they're kind of rushing everything. Because wasn't only like a week or two ago that they announced this, like, name contest, and now like voting ends on the 4th. So like the day this comes out, you have until midnight to get your submissions in or vote for this. Like they're moving quick. It's very clear they want to get something done.
Like
they already have the answer.
Feels like they just want. Yeah, like I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like
this is like a Soviet election. The decision's already been made.
Lexington. Here's a fun fact: Lexington Legends. They did a name the team contest before the counterclocks. Obviously, don't pick that. Lexington Legends name, and the Legends did not win. I believe it was the Horse Flies that won. Which before you roll that actually could have been really good. Think about almost like a flying horse, almost in the vibe of like Donkey and Shrek when he has wings. But I think Legends worked out. That's a whole other conversation. But most of the time when it's a fan vote, it's so we can get your input and then we will do with that what we will.
Yeah.
I think if 99% of the vote was for grinders, which it could be, I still don't think they would do it.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, I don't really have a counter to that. Like, with all of these, it always feels like at best the fan input's going to be used to break an office tie, right? Or if it's like overwhelming, then yeah. But I mean,
if it really tells you something, sure.
Yeah. But overall, it just feels like, especially in this case too, because like, you don't announce finalists like on Wednesday and then say Saturday, end of voting. Unless you already kind of have an order placed for merchandise. Like, it just feels like that's the case here. And I do kind of hope they're not rushing it like that. Because if that was the case, then like, what was even the point of all this?
Yeah.
Like, was it just to get like some market pushback here to be like, all right, is our name like horrifically unpopular and we got to change it? Or is it not that bad?
Here's the thing, and here's why I'm starting to lean toward they're not going to do ChowdaHeads.
Yeah.
If you Google, so if you don't know, if you haven't seen it, the ChowdaHeads that they're proposing are ChowdaHeads, all one word, like chowda, as if it's with the accent. I just searched it. Now, of course, things might come up differently if they actually name the team that and they have a website. But like immediately, it's giving me, do you mean New England ChowdaHeads, the lacrosse team? Everything all the way down the page is that. So it's just going to be a really difficult SEO situation if they're trying to do their marketing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, also just fits so well as a name, and like, I don't see anything else on here that really goes. Yeah, like, because like, Chowda Monsters just feels like you're trying too hard.
I'll send you the logo. By the way, the team's got a really cool logo. Lacrosse team. I'm like, damn, that's what they should do. Well, just go with it. Just take the whole brand. Just say, I'm going to take this and that and that. I'll DM it to you now, but I would encourage you, give it a Google. ChowdaHeads spelled like the way you would think. ChowdaHeads.
Give it a Bing.
You'll get it.
Search it on Bing. It's better for image searching.
Yeah, Bing that.
That's actually a really sick logo, though. It's not what I expected at all, but it's actually a really cool logo. So yeah, like I see the concerns, obviously, with the name being very similar for both SEO and legal purposes. But like, the same point though, it's a really sick name and works really well for minor league baseball. So I feel like it has to happen. And if they go Chowda Monsters, I'm going to be so upset because that's such a try hard name that just doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I think Chowda Monsters is too much. I agree. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying to think. New England Nor'easters could be cool, but I don't know that there's anything to it.
Yeah. There's a weather phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean, also like, hold on. Like, what happens if you Google that?
Like
that's already the name of that's already University of New England, by the way.
Yeah, I knew I knew that from
spelled
somewhere.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, someone I knew was going to go there. I forget who.
Yeah, like, and that's what I mean. And here's the thing I was cautioning against. Southern Maryland, it seems much better now. But I always found that, like, when my entire computer was completely geared up to be like, oh, you're talking about the baseball stuff. Got it. Yeah. Like, early on when I was covering indie ball, like, I'd search Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, and, like, half the results on the first page were the team, and half were, like, crab recipes or whatever, crab restaurants. So, like that's not what you want.
But did you get any good recipes out of it?
Stuff. Bro, I destroy crab. Like, oh, don't get me going. I'm about it.
Don't get pinchy on me.
Nice, good work.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm looking out for, like weird stuff like that. I just think you want to. That's why you got to go kind of off kilter. You got to think about it. You know, what people are going to see when they look you up. Like, there's a bunch of New England Grinders websites, but I think you could get away with it, except for the fact that the Grinders don't do that, or at least go all the way with it and take the E out, like whatever. And New England Knockouts, I can't imagine goes anything good.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
like I just
whatever.
See,
but I just like I agree. ChowdaHeads is the best one, but I just think you're walking into an issue.
Yeah,
which I hope they've thought about. They must have. You figure, right? You figure someone in the room's googling names.
Yeah, low key, I really do kind of hope it's grinders, just because if you let a marketing department just kind of go off and go, no rings, there's so much potential there.
Tell your boys to get on Grinder, like just like so many dumb little like things you can throw out there.
Oh my god!
Welcome to the Grind House. Yeah, dude, get weird.
Yeah, like here's the thing too, and there's just so much potential there for using grinders together.
I mean, I actually love like the indie ball grinder connotation. Like that's all there. Like
it's just like, so bad.
Like, now I am thinking about how funny the marketing could get. Like
like you could really get out there. And the thing is too, like I feel like especially on like the Northeast market is especially open to that kind of thing. Like I don't think they're going to be that offended by it at all.
I think you're right. I think you could probably make it work.
Yeah. It's just like, it's not exactly family friendly, which obviously don't work into it. And again, I don't feel like you're as uptight in this area.
And I also think you do have the plausible deniability. I mean, it is grind. It's not spelled the same. It does have a connection to the area, like, of like, you know, a different, you know, a grinder being a different thing. Like, yeah, I could be talked into it. It's maybe the worst option in my opinion, but I could be talked into it. Shadow Monsters, I don't think I could be talked into.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I don't think Knockout stands out enough.
The other two are just too generic.
Nor'easter, as I said, I'm really worried. Like specifically New England Nor'easter is like literally it's New England University. Like I'm almost like,
just don't.
Did you just grab this as a placeholder?
Yeah.
Like you didn't want to think of something creative that people could fall in love with. Like, I don't know.
Oh god. Yeah. Overall there. I'm stuck thinking of like marketing promotions for grinders, and like I just picture like the mascot, whatever it is, like kind of like laying on their bed, like, you know, 90s teen flick style, texting back and forth with like a lot of like 50-50 messages, and then it just like boom reveals the ballpark.
And whatever that mascot is or whatever you want to do with it, that thing better be real phallic.
It needs big gritty energy.
Like you wouldn't show a picture of it to your grandma, you know what I mean?
This show is so far gone.
This is the weirdest one we've done, that's for sure.
This is the episode that really strays from the light of God.
Man-made horror is beyond their comprehension. Okay.
All right. Is that enough
let's keep it rolling.
Logo discussion? Because we do have coaching carousel discussion we have to get to.
I mean, we talk coaching, whatever. I'll follow where you're going.
All right, yeah. So we got some new additions to the carousel. I figure we'll just use this whole bit as kind of like an update to see where we're at on stuff here. We'll run through some teams and see if there's anything we really have on anything. As, you know, descriptive as that phrase was there, as I fumble over my words to get them out of my mouth. Just like a nice grinder sandwich. And so we go to Sioux Falls.
It's a mouthful of meat.
I wish it was a head full of chowder. But
oh god.
Yeah. The Canaries extended Mike Myers. 2-year extension with a club option for a third. He goes through 25, could go to 26. Been with the Orcs since 07, manager since 17. Also in their press release, they mentioned that the schedule will be out in late November. So a couple weeks, and we'll have a schedule for the American Association. Thoughts on that one?
I don't know. I honestly don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I mean, I think it's a good. No, I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts on it because it seems to me to be the obvious call. Done a good job so far. So, he won Manager of the Year this year, right?
Yep, Manager of the Year, got him back to the postseason. So,
no notes. Yeah, keep it rolling. Like I think, my real thought is that I'm happy that Sioux Falls didn't mess around and they went out and just got the extension from him immediately. It's good stuff.
Yeah, like honestly, I agree with that, and I also wonder too, like, how easy is it exactly to find a manager for Sioux Falls too? So like, you have a guy you're comfortable with, you're better off just keeping him, even if at times the results aren't there. But I also feel like the ballpark isn't doing you any favors for like recruiting guys in when it's decrepit and old. I phrased that specifically too, by the way. It's not doing you any favors. I understand. Yeah, like, it's not gonna.
Before do you have any other thoughts on the actual extension?
On the actual extension, no. Only actual like elaboration I want to go with the point is, obviously guys will take contracts where they can get them, but I'm just saying if there was a toss-up between the two and you're playing in an old ballpark with like probably less than ideal like facility on player end versus someone that's like, I don't know, maybe like Chicago that has a newer ballpark. Chicago's a little bit of a better choice, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, you could argue that.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
My thing that stood out with the sort of late November, mid to late November announcement of schedule is 2 or 3 weeks later than they did last year. Any theories on it, or do you think it's nothing?
See, like, I'm kind of torn on it, right? Because like on one hand, I kind of want to speculate, but I also don't have much to speculate on, so I know it'd be baseless, right? But I do kind of.
I don't think they'd be adding a team at this point. It might just been waiting to confirm that Sioux City had a spot.
I think that's more or less it. I also think it's maybe like if they kind of want to see like, okay, remember that stupid plan that they saw for like here's how we could solve the 5-day layoff thing. I do wonder if they're having a discussion on that, because Schaub seems to be proactive, and I could see it being the kind of thing where we'd be like, if you want to do it, we're open to it. And just kind of like sorting out that. Plus, keep in mind they have that Champions League thing they have to keep in mind as well and figure out that. So I think they just have more moving parts, and I think that's more the reason than anything else. And also, like you said, Sioux City, making sure they're there. Also, because you can't add a team at this point. A, you would need a travel team to go with them. And B, it's just too late in the cycle to do that now. You'd be setting up for failure. So like, it would have to be wait a year and then go in 25 as opposed to 24.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, so that's my only thought there. Going to Winnipeg, they have fired Greg Taggart after a 43-57 season, and Logan Watkins will be his replacement. Obviously, Logan, 500 guy, was in Cleburne last year, 34 years old, so he's a young guy. He knows. He's a player's guy. He's, honestly, I thought did a pretty good job in Cleburne, which I would say is one of the more difficult places to recruit to, just because of the travel conditions and also the fact that you're playing all your home games, 50 of them, in sweltering Texas heat, which is not really a fun time for anybody. So, obviously the travel's not much easier in Winnipeg. However, it is somewhat easier because you do have some closer opponents, even if you do have a border you have to go across. So, overall, I think it's an upgrade. I think it's a definite improvement. I know there's an argument we had that, Taggart was only like 7 games under 500. Is the result different something? It's just, I've kind of been of the opinion as of late, especially more and more I hear about Greg. It's just like, I feel like he's a little bit out of step with the modern ball player. So in that sense,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So I feel like in that sense, it's a positive decision for Winnipeg. And I do appreciate them saying, all right, we did this 1 year. We acknowledge that this probably won't get better. Let's not waste time. Let's not drag this out. Let's get it over with quick and now. And I think the fact that they went from a guy that's been doing this for a long, long time and quite certainly has one mindset to a guy that really has only managed for about 2 years and is a much younger guy and has a much different outlook. I mean, in the press release, he explicitly says, I describe myself as a player's manager. And I feel like that is, I think there's a reason for that. So I do think it's a little bit of a 180, maybe not full 180, but like a 90-degree turn on it. And I think that's a positive decision for Winnipeg. I also think Logan's a good manager too, on top of that.
Yeah. I think he seems, I don't know Cleburne as closely as I know some other organizations, but he seemed to be a good vibes guy.
Yeah,
it seems like maybe what Winnipeg was lacking. I think this is a different challenge than Cleburne, almost like one extreme to the other. I mean, literally in many ways, but I think that is a more optimal situation for him. So I'm thinking he might be able to make something out of this. I think this was a step up for everybody involved, honestly.
Absolutely. And I do wonder if you have more resources in Winnipeg than you do Cleburne. It feels like that would be the case. They're a more established team. They've been doing this longer. I feel like their funding may be a little bit better because they certainly seem to, it feels like they do better numbers when it comes to financials than, say, Cleburne does because, again, it's kind of hard to convince people to go to a minor league ball game in Texas in the middle of the summer when it's really hot. So,
yeah, I mean, who knows exactly what the finances look like behind the scenes, but I would say the optics certainly.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it certainly feels that way. I will agree. I like the hiring, though. I like the decision. Yeah,
man, I'm there with you.
But yeah, I do wonder though, just to kind of switch gears and kind of bring us into the carousel here.
Sorry.
You have another really long-term guy that's been around indie ball for a while now, and Greg Taggart entering the fray. I do wonder a bit where he lands, if anywhere, because it's quite clear it feels like manager or bust type situation there. And, I kind of assume if I don't hear anything about a team, making an announcement about their staffing, either the guy's staying put or it's an open position. Winnipeg didn't mention anything about it. They just go, new guy. And I get it too. There's no sense in saying, hey, we're letting this dude go unless you're going to say, we're going to do a search or something like that. Most fan bases, I don't think really are that tuned into it. So I get it. No sense in dragging somebody's name out there if the fan base doesn't care. But I do wonder what openings there are that he would be a fit for, right? Everybody else either seems to have a manager they like or is good, or it just wouldn't be a fit for him, Because it feels like it's American Association as the primary decision maker here for Taggart. It got to be one of those jobs. So if you look at it from that perspective, he's not going to get Kansas City. He's not going to get Milwaukee. He's obviously not going to get Winnipeg. He's probably not going to get Gary. I feel like they're kind of done with that. Chicago, maybe, but I don't think so. Lake Country seems to be happy with where they're at. Sioux City, obviously not. Sioux Falls, obviously not. What does that realistically leave? Cleburne? Which I kind of feel like Pete has the inside track on, if he wants it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like... Oh, man. Yeah, so we're thinking American Association, because really all I'm thinking, my first thought was New England?
No.
The kind of place I'd be like, a veteran guy. But, especially from what I hear about the budget, it'll be tight.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Might be sitting out.
That's what I feel like. I feel like it gotta be, because Cleburne's the only job that I could think of, really.
Yeah, dude. I'm just scrolling through, seeing what else is out there, but doesn't. Yeah, man.
Because it won't be Atlantic.
It's so. By the way, this is a bad time of year to get let go. So that's
it's late.
Worth noting. I don't know. That's fascinating to me.
I'm hoping. If you go through the teams here, we'll just go through them one by one. Just assuming American Association, I don't think. He would go Frontier. It feels like, it just wouldn't vibe right, but maybe, but still. Fargo, no. Coastie's there. Alpha Pietra in Kansas City, no. Lincoln's there, but we don't really know what Brett Jody's doing. If he winds up going out east and opening that gig up, I could maybe see Greg stepping in there. That kind of works, but even then, I don't really feel that one.
Yeah.
Both the Sioux we went through already. He just got canned from Winnipeg, so that's out. Barone's in Milwaukee. They're not going to move there. Lake Country's content. George Samus is in KC, meaning Kane County, so that's not going to change there. If Gary wants to move on from Lamar and go back to Greg, I guess that's a choice they could make, but again, that doesn't feel like the right choice to make. Then Cleburne's the only
other choices.
Yeah, fair, but
and that goes both ways, team and manager.
Fair. I mean, if I'm the team, though, I'm you already know what he's going to do. Like, at least with Lamar, you have the hope that he's going to improve. You know, like, maybe at this point, it's like a prospect you brought in that you really were expecting, but like after 2 years, you're like, yeah, he's only 23. He can definitely get better. But it's like, we're not really seeing a lot here to make us think that, outside of like, he's 23 and had potential. So like, I feel like it's kind of, that's where we're at in Gary, but like, even still, I'd roll the dice on him. I mean, he hasn't been that much worse than Taggart was his last few years. Like, we already went over Cleburne. I mean, I guess depending what the situation is in Chicago, but like, I feel like there's better options in Chicago, probably better options in that dugout still, if they need to make that switch.
I mean, PJ is still out there too.
True. That's
Spoiler alert. PJ Phillips in Jersey probably is not happening. Like, New Jersey's cutting budget.
Taggart to New Jersey.
So I would does not seem like the type of energy Pete's looking for. So keep that on a swivel. if your team is looking for a manager and you see, see an opening, might be there might be an extra name also thrown in because this isn't chaotic. I got to make a graphic. That's what I should do.
I keep meaning to make that same graphic too.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll put that on the to-do list. We'll get a coaching carousel graphic going because I keep thinking it's cooling down, and then I look around and I'm like, not really, dude.
Yeah, and like I'm looking through here, and it's like because I'm even willing to look at like Western Frontier League teams, and it's like we just had a hiring in Windy City. Washington's not going to move their guy. Schaumburg's not going to move their guy. You have Gateway who's not going to move their guy. Just had the hiring last year in Florence, so I assume that's not going to change. Evansville's not going to move their guy. That really leaves like Joliet and possibly Lake Erie. But I imagine Lemieux's probably back. We haven't heard anything about Schlereth, but I don't know about him. So like neither one of them seems to be like, that great of an opening. I mean, if you don't have any other choices, then sure, go for it. But I'm just not really seeing much here. So I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, to what I said, it's a bad time of year to get let go as a manager. I mean, I don't know what happened. From the outside looking in, it looks disrespectful as all hell.
Yeah.
Dragging someone that long. It's...
Yeah, if you're going to fire
that's
fire
why I think the Jersey situation is so fascinating, too, because, like, I mean, everyone around that situation seems to be like thinking that they're going to be looking for a new manager, except nobody on the Jersey side wants to make it official.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, like when are you gonna do that? I think if you're waiting into mid-October, and depending on when the season ends, if you're waiting more than like 2 weeks past to announce this sort of thing, it's like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. It's making it difficult not only on the manager now, who would like, come on, let's be professionals here, but it's also making it difficult on you, the team, to find somebody, because a lot of guys are already having jobs and entertaining options. So at least the top ones are.
Yeah.
So
quick, just note here, looking at like open jobs in the American Association here. Not managerial jobs, but just like open, I guess, more front office or sales related. Cleburne's looking for a lot of salespeople. Gary's looking for a marketing director. Sioux City needs a tickets director. And Lincoln looks for a turf/groundskeeper assistant. Also,
I'm not beasting out for anything baseball ops. Days in baseball ops, but if you're looking for a baseball ops guy, call me.
All right, let's take a. While we're doing this, because this is kind of coaching carousel E. Ooh, we have Stan Island's looking for a chief revenue officer.
They're looking for revenue.
Yeah. Southern Maryland wants a marketing coordinator.
Have you seen me putting that revenue on a milk carton?
Bro, interesting job here for those that are interested. Hagerstown needs an executive chef. So they're going to have a chef.
There you go.
Let's see. Anything else?
I mean,
Lexington needs some clubhouse attendance. That clubhouse manager.
Yeah, they always do.
Bro, Staten Island's really hiring here. Group executive, senior director of marketing and communications they need, social media director, and Lancaster has all their internships up already. So good for them.
I mean, yeah, that all tracks.
Yeah. So let's see. And while we're here, we might as well look up the other 2 leagues here. Washington needs a trainer. So that's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they need an athletic trainer. Food and beverage manager in Tri-City. Deck the Y'all Holiday Lights technician. That's hiring if you're in Florence and you want to do some electrical work.
Yeah.
If you dude, we got multiple mascot opportunities, both Herbie the Miner and the Y'all's Water Tower. Oh, isn't that interesting? Besides the play-by-play commentator in New Jersey, which makes me think Reed may be out there. That's kind of interesting there. There's also an assistant GM position open in Sussex County. I should apply for that. And then the Wild Things also are looking for a mascot.
Great Falls, I'll do your baseball ops job for free if you fly me out there for homestands. I'm not moving fully out to Great Falls because you're not going to pay enough for a full-time gig. So keep it, fly me out, and then I'll work from PA while you guys are on the road. So I don't get, so I still have a full-time job, obviously. And you're like, hey, Ryan, can you do that kind of job with a full-time job? Already doing it, guys. I have a full-time job and I live all night doing indie ball stuff because I hate myself.
Oh, but like there's free
gotta
housing
have hobbies.
available.
Hey, keep it. I'll sleep in the clubhouse when I'm local. It's fine.
Look, they'll find you
I'm open.
a clubby.
Hey, dude, I'm open to a weird arrangement with the team as long as they're open to a weird arrangement with me.
My God.
Low key, though, I've seen the baseball operations options out there.
Yeah.
So seriously, though, maybe call me. Got you, Great Falls. I know what you're looking. I know. I see the lay of the land too, and especially because you're looking at essentially part timers who seem to be getting. I don't want to assume probably a stipend. I think we can do better than that.
I think we could do better than that.
I think we could.
Yeah.
Together.
Okay, so
Voyagers.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think collectively, between the Voyagers, you and myself, you could do the baseball ops stuff. I'll loop in on this marketing and promotions angle they have, and we can make something happen here. I feel like we can make something great happen here.
I think we could at least win.
Could you get them to the playoffs?
10 more games.
That sounds like a playoff berth.
Not year one. Not year one.
We're not looking year one. Year one, we want to see improvement.
That team was 33-60 last year, bud.
We're looking for. Okay, we discussed them last week with Rempe.
Sniffing 45 wins. I think look, I don't know what the budget situation is. That could be freaking impossible. That's like the ideal situation you could, and that's easy for me to say. But I sincerely believe a highly focused baseball operations person could just do really well. I've seen it. We know the baseball operations people that thrive. There's a type.
Could you get them to 500?
It's not complete confidence in my own skill level. It's complete confidence in my own willingness to not have a life.
So the real question we got to ask here is, could you get Great Falls to a 500 record in year one?
No, absolutely not. I think in 2 years it's reasonable.
Okay, what's your 3-year plan on this? What would be the 3-year plan? Without knowing the layout, obviously. That changes a lot of things once you see the layout and the budget and what recruiting's like going on out there.
I think...
the milestones and markers here.
Yeah. I feel you. I mean, it's going to have to be slow improvement. It's holding on to what's good on the pitching side and then slowly making the improvements there. You can kind of make some wholesale changes on the offensive side and you should be okay, even though they do have a younger team too, so I'd have to look through more of that. But Pioneer League, I think you can run a pretty good 3-year cycle of trading guys that are about to, are close. If you think your window is a year and a half away, or at least, you can move guys who by then are probably going to be beyond your roster restriction.
Yeah, they're going to age out.
Put them on better teams, get some young guys that they like, that you are pretty, some of those teams are pretty reliable finding a good young guy too. So you kind of have a second opinion on it just by doing the deal.
Yeah.
I think that would be the way. And then just kind of make sure you have the coaching and the structure in place that they can get through some tough times in Great Falls and they're actually improving and not just sitting in the mud. And kind of watch for guys who are going to be those people that, okay, like we can actually ride with this team and like this guy and have him be a part of a good team moving forward. And this is just a guy, this is just what he is. And we're going to go our separate ways. Like that's super vague and super easy to say, but like, I didn't think you can give me any Pioneer League roster and I'll probably tell you that's probably what they should be doing. They have a weird roster restriction thing where it is a quick turnover over there. It's almost like running a college team.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know, dude. Missoula, just keep doing it. Keep doing the thing.
Honestly, that's the problem with Great Falls too. Is I feel like no matter how good you do, I look in front of you like, oh, but there's Billings in Missoula.
Yeah, I'm like year 2, you might have a playoff shot. You're gonna want to get a wild card though.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, they weren't bad in the second half. They weren't good, but they weren't bad either. They're 8 games under 500. Like that, you could work with that, which is
really impressive. And that's why looking at that, I'm like, well, they might be able to do the 500 thing.
Yeah, and plus they finished
down
1-9 of their last 10 too. So they were 500 going into the last 10 games. So if you could flip some of those results at the end, and I want I forget who they finished with. That matters a lot. Who was their last 10 games against?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, because if they're playing Missoula in the last 10, it's oh yeah, no shit, they're gonna go 1-9.
Because I remember they were they flirting with a potential playoff spot at one point?
They were getting a little dangerous. Let's see. Great Falls played Boise.
So look, man, they might be able to do it.
I don't love them playing Boise there and losing that to Boise. Billings was a series.
Billings, okay.
That's legit. Okay, I can live with that loss. And they were 1-2 against them, so I can live with that.
Yeah, the Boise one's a tough one to take.
Glacier's
a tough one to take.
Yeah, Glacier. Yeah. I don't love it, but
if I remember right, they were fairly competitive with Missoula going into that series.
Yeah.
I wonder, they had a doubleheader, then they had a win. They took 2 out of 3 to Missoula, but I wonder if they I'd have to look back at the box score. I wonder if they blew out the pitching a little bit and then were just playing catch up, and then not having pitching against Glacier is a bad bet because they can pop on you every once in a while.
Yeah, I genuinely forgot how outrageous some of these scores were in the Pioneer League. 17, 12, 23, 4.
Dude, it's football scores for sure.
Oh, God, I can see it now. First thing you say to the pitcher when they get off the bus, go, son, I hope you don't care about your ERA. Because it is not going to get better here. Then you tell them.
Great Falls is definitely improvable.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Great Falls, you got your guy. Go hire him. Now watch, we totally overlooked the fact that Rempe got baseball ops and manager at the same time.
Right.
Wouldn't that be just so us?
Well, baseball operations coordinator, for the record, it's probably not signing players. They're probably mostly doing travel.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, in fairness, he actually did get named manager and director of baseball ops.
There you go.
It was a fun discussion while it lasted.
Not interested. He's full control. And a gun. Don't ask questions.
It's Montana, dude. They don't ask questions.
It's true. Yeah, you cross the board and go that day.
Going back to other job openings there, how would you feel about being the mascot for Lexington?
I'm good.
You sure?
Hard out. Dude, I wouldn't want to be the owner of Lexington.
Okay, how about the chief revenue officer in Staten Island?
You cannot be the officer of something that doesn't exist.
Well, then think of it like this. You're getting paid to do nothing.
God, so brutal. I mean, I'm sure there is revenue. There's just not profit.
Oh, hey, like, honestly, I'm reading the description here, and like, I gotta be real with you. It doesn't seem like it's that hard.
I mean, that's where I got a business degree.
Yeah. You were looking at the job posting now?
Nah, don't need to.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident.
So I guess we'll wrap up the coaching carousel with, there really isn't too much to say here. If you get let go at this point, they must really not like you. And I think it's fairly safe to say at this point, if there's openings that weren't publicly announced, then they're not going to be until they get filled.
Maybe, yeah. Or until, like, if there's an opening that's not official, and then that manager who had that fills another role, then you got to say something, which is always a fun, uncomfortable thing.
He just
like, oh yeah, by the way,
we're looking for
another manager.
Is that where we get the we mutually agreed?
This was best. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right. So that's really all we got for baseball talk. What little there is in this hour 40.
Jesus.
So being that we were just off topic, let's continue to go off topic because you got to pick a hockey team.
Oh shoot, are we doing this now?
We might as well. We've been teasing this thing for 3 weeks.
Pitter patter.
All right. So just a recap. Last week we narrowed them down.
Yeah.
We got Ducks, Yotes, Canes, Jackets, Stars, Oilers, Panthers, Preds, Fish Sticks, Flyers, Sharks, Bolts, Knights, and Kraken. We could probably start removing teams from here.
I mean, how do we even go about it? Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna say the team. You're gonna tell me what the appeal is, and I'm gonna tell you why it's a good or bad decision.
Okay,
Let's
fair.
keep it simple. We don't need to make this extravagant. We can make it simple.
Just
go with it. This is Grindr, baby. Just go with it.
Grindr, baby. Just go with it. Oh my god, that should be it.
I'm telling you, like, honestly, New England, I know you're listening. Hire me to do your marketing.
Begging you to make sure you Google all these names.
Oh, phenomenal. All right. So Anaheim, what's the appeal with the Anaheim no longer mighty Ducks?
Oh, I like the 90s vibe of the Ducks. They got young dudes on that team. I found, like, I watched a couple games. I've been trying.
Okay.
I feel like I could be ahead of the curve with that team. Like, I don't really love the idea of jumping on a team that's, like, good right now, but I also don't want to jump on a team that's going to suck forever.
Okay.
So I feel like they're a good team where I could kind of get in early. Both of us born in 93.
Okay.
That's a plus. And I like they have that minor league team, like the San Diego Gulls, which is a whole
the
vibe.
Gulls are a vibe. Yeah, I like the Gulls a lot.
Yeah, they AHL team. Though what hurts is the fact that their ECHL team is named the Oilers. What are you doing?
Tulsa Oilers.
Trash.
Yes.
Change that immediately.
All right. Is there any reason why? Because the Gulls thing is actually a historic thing. Like there was a old WHL team, I believe it was. Either WHL.
The Oilers are another team.
Oh no, he's Pacific Coast League. My mistake. Yes.
The Oilers are just another NHL team's name. You're having your AHL team name that? That's embarrassing.
ECHL, it's like high A hockey. Okay, so like let's keep this in perspective.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, but still, like if the Phillies like high A team was called the Yankees, I'd be a little weirded out.
I mean, like for a while there, they just do common things like that. Do you want them to be called like the Tulsa Ducks or something?
I mean, I'm sure there's something else going on in Tulsa. Don't ask me what. I mean, like a heron. There, pick a bird. You know, like there you go. Tulsa herons. That works.
All right. Now.
All right.
We're just gonna keep going from there. So you make some good points with the Ducks here. I'd also counter by saying you never have really guarantees in this sport. They're gonna get better. They're also probably pissed off some of their RFAs with the way they negotiated, particularly with Drysdale, because he didn't play the last two games, which kept him from getting ARB rights before he signed this. That's in the weeds.
Like some roster manipulation?
Kind of low-key. Like, it was one of those where, like, he probably could have played, but it was like he chose not to play, but did he choose not to play, or did Pat Verbeek just be like, hey, you're not going to play these last two games because, like, you should take it easy. We don't want you getting more hurt than you are. And also, if you play them, then you have ARB rights.
I don't like service time manipulation. Yes. I'm pro player, so I don't know.
That's the thing. Plus, West Coast, that's going to be a lot of late games. A lot of them.
That is a problem.
pro side, though, is when they come out east, those games are normally cheaper to see. So that's a factor in that, too.
True.
But you do have the manipulation
and I don't
there.
Sleep much.
That's fair. That's fair. And also, I mean, like, your West Coast start times are like 10 o'clock. So, I mean, they're wrapping up around 1.
Well, we're also taking way too much time talking about the Anaheim Ducks right now.
Yeah. So, we'll leave the Ducks at that. A solid choice, but, you know, I think you could do better. I'll put it like that. I think you could do better. Plus, add on the jersey. That's the thing, too. Most of these guys have ads. Not all of them, but most. Coyotes here.
I love the look, man. That jersey's amazing.
Oh, Kachina? Yeah.
I got family in that area.
Okay.
I don't care if they move because they're already far from me.
Okay, that's a huge plus
too.
Low key
indie ball vibes. Unsuccessful business in a ballpark. In an arena they shouldn't be in. Possibly moving. Sketchy ownership.
So they're Gastonia. Understood.
Like, big indie ball vibes for me. And yeah, it just feels like in all those ways, it feels a little bit like home.
I mean, like, you're not wrong with that, but they also have this tendency to have to sell off anything worth a damn. They've only had really, I think, like 2 or 3 playoff appearances in their history. And yeah, they are a kind of a constant problem child. So
I haven't missed much. That's, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you could look at like
I can't think of a single great player that they ended up getting rid of.
I mean, like, well, Keith Yandel, kind of. They really haven't had anyone good.
How long will Gretzky there?
I mean, Wayne doesn't. He's a coach. That doesn't count. I mean, it depends. Are you counting like Jets 1.0 as part of that history or not? Because they were birthed from the Storm team too. So like,
yeah, fair enough.
Like, that's a strike. I personally stay clear of the Yotes. They're kind of just like a disaster case, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now, if you don't care if they move, then I mean, like, fine. Either way, brings us to another team that was kind of stolen to be put where they are now in Carolina.
Okay. Feels like I haven't missed much because, you know, they haven't really been around that long.
They won a cup.
The vibes are chaotic. They seem like they're crazy and their fans are weird. Familiarity with Brindamore because he was a Flyer, so that's like the extent of my hockey knowledge.
Okay.
Whalers jerseys as throwbacks, very hot. Bunch of jerks. That's going a thing with them. That feels like a thing with me as well.
Okay, but
North Carolina's a vibe. Storm surge. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
So I could break some of that down. So first off, Storm surge is like their post-win celebration thing. They did it, and that's the birth of the bunch of jerks thing because Don Cherry was a hockey coach for a while and a hockey commentator.
Right.
Called him a bunch of jerks. So that's the whole thing. So it's kind of like a F you old man type of thing. Now, it's kind of funny they do that, being that their owner, you know, made his money on payday loans. So like, okay, you know.
Which I hate, which might be a deal breaker for me, honestly.
Yeah. And also, I mean, he bought and folded a football league in like 4 weeks. So not great there. Jersey thing, he received a lot of backlash on there for that too. Mainly because, like, it's kind of been, like, that's Hartford's thing. Like, yeah, you own it, but it's Hartford's thing. You don't touch that logo and that all that comes with it. Likewise, earlier you said you didn't really want to jump onto a team that was good, kind of bandwagonish. They are a good team, so that's bandwagony. And also, I mean, you have missed a bit. They went to, like, 2 different cup finals, a bunch of Eastern Conference appearances. They won a cup in 06 too. Granted, if you ask Oiler fans about that, they're going to be upset about that. But I personally just would, you know, say you don't really need it. Plus, the vibe really isn't that great when like a real team comes to town because the real team people buy them up. I'll put it like this: if they play a team from the tri-state, they have to restrict sales to just North Carolina residents because they know.
That's funny.
Yeah, the Bolts do that too, but we'll get to them later on. And by the way, when they do that, Ranger fans still find a way in. We all know someone that lives in those states, and we just use that address.
Yeah, of course you do.
So,
got to.
Like, it's not like, come on. Columbus.
I love they have a cannon. Very cool vibe.
Cannon is a plus.
Again, definitely feel like I haven't missed much. I like that they usually suck. That's kind of endearing. I think it's okay. I think it's hilarious that Columbus made Cleveland their minor league club, just like little boy in Cleveland. So funny to me. again, the cons on the other side are that they do usually suck. That Columbus is a kind of a beat city, in my opinion. The logo looks like some crappy generic All-Star team logo. I don't know. To me,
what about the Canon logo?
And that whole damn Babcock thing, dude. That was enough for me. Maybe be like, I might be alright.
I mean, weirdo. I'm not sure you want to sign up on that. Plus, keep in mind, most of the good players demand trades out of there.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to look up Jeff Carter and Adam Foote there, they really screwed that city over. Got traded there, then demanded a trade, but said I'd only go to like one of 3 places, so they got no deal whatsoever. So,
ooh, fair enough.
Yeah, so like I'm just telling you, like there's suffering involved in that.
Okay.
If you want to sign up for that, by all means, go for it. But like, there's suffering.
I think I'm good on scratching Carolina and Columbus.
All right, so let's mark that down. We don't even have to make a decision today. Let's get it down to like finalists. Let's give our final 5 like New England did, and then give nobody time to vote. All right, so let's go to stars here. Okay. Yeah, so we still got Ducks and Yotes there. They're still in here. Dallas Stars. Formerly
I've
Minnesota.
I've always kind of liked their vibe. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. It's so different having a team in Dallas. I think it's kind of funny.
Okay.
Probably drives Canada crazy when they're good, which is always a plus.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's better options for that on this list.
The cons are Dallas.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. Texas in general, really.
They don't really seem to do a lot of exciting stuff. Stars is also a very dumb name, in my opinion. I get the North Stars connection, but like, okay. And I hate that their AHL teams also name the Stars. I want to bounce my head off the table every time I see that.
And it's the Texas Stars too.
The AHL team, so it's the Steelheads, so it's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, but those affiliations change a lot normally.
Yeah. Not in Reading, baby. Locked and loaded.
All right. So, yeah. You also got to keep in mind, again, this is a buying high situation. Certainly.
Fair.
Also
I
on
forgot
there.
They were good.
Yep.
So maybe that helps.
Also on there, I would say the one cup they won, definitely under controversial circumstances there. That foot was in the crease. As dumb of a rule as it was still a rule at the time, so not great there. And you screwed over the city of Buffalo that quite literally has nothing. So, you're kind of kicking down there. As far as that, only other concern that you may want to have here is their ownership does tend to call out players. It's a fairly common thing. Normally the star players that he's paying is like, for what they make, they got to be better. That's been almost a verbatim quote for 2 years now. So there is that there. I'm trying to really think what else. Jamie Benn's got some comments that are interesting too, but, same thing with Tyler Seguin, come to think of it. Yeah, I really don't think there's too much else here. I mean, like, there's not much there. Again, like, they kind of stole a team from a better market, I guess. But, like, I mean, that's how a lot of teams are, so I don't really know. So.
I'm keeping it tentatively for now, but we'll see.
All right. We got the Oilers up next.
Oilers. I like that the kind of like the weird, maybe forgotten team up in Canada these days. I don't know. I just never think of them. So it's kind of a vibe. McDavid. Throwback jerseys are kind of sexy.
Oh, wait.
The Condors are a good minor league vibe.
Yeah. Although that's a far place to go from Edmonton to Bakersfield.
I mean, yeah. But I'm also like, not my problem because I probably won't be going to either much. Cons in my head. How do you lose Gretzky? I know there's a documentary about it, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It feels like they're like potentially the Los Angeles Angels of the NHL because they have like some really good players, and it feels like they're about to waste them. So
I mean, like they've also developed.
I'm concerned about that.
That is a concern, definitely. I would say of all the good teams on here, they're probably the least front runnery. Draisaitl also has a very kind of attitude, especially towards reporters. I think you'd like, mainly when one asked him why he was being pissy, and he responded in kind. So that's kind of a cool plus there. Their goaltending just straight out sucks and has always sucked, really, since Dwayne. Cabby Boylan was all right, but really Dwayne
Giving up goals to the culture.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing here. So, like, you also have to wonder, you may honestly be walking into an Angels type situation. Again, you have these late games, and they're going to be late games in Canada. And also keep in mind, when the Oilers do well, Canada's going to be happy. So I'm not sure if you really want that.
I don't like when Canada's happy, that's for sure.
Exactly. And there's not
no
really...
offense, Quebec, Winnipeg people.
So that's where the Oilers stand. So that's really all we got there. There's some interesting guys there, but there are also a lot of just like, I guess, 508 file not found type moments. Also, they managed to kind of screw up having 3 straight first round picks.
Yeah, it's a tough scene for sure.
Yeah, so that's not great.
I'm keeping them as a hesitant lead. They're in it still, but...
They're still in the top 4. They're still there.
Yeah.
Like this. All right. We got the Panthers.
I got.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. I think it's kind of endearing that they're in a weird spot. I think
built across from a mall near a swamp?
Yeah, man. Why not? Most of Florida is built like that anyway.
Fair.
They seem young and they seem like kind of fun. Nobody seems to care about them, which is kind of a vibe. They might get moved, also a vibe. And don't care if they get moved because they're, Florida. Not really convenient to me. Year of the Rat. Don't know really the full story there, but it seems like a vibe for me.
Yeah, TLDR.
I think at my core, I love a team that shouldn't exist. This kind of feel. And the Florida Everblades is sick as hell. So, yeah.
I will tell you this. Throwback jerseys are really good for them. Reverse retro.
I was going to say, I feel like their jerseys used to be a lot cooler. Their current jerseys kind of suck.
Yeah, if you look at the ones from the 90s, way better. Way better. Rat story, during their cup run year where they then got smacked by Colorado, their captain at the time, Scott Millenby, killed a rat in the dressing room using a hockey stick. And then that got out.
It's Florida.
Yep. And so then everybody started throwing plastic rats on the ice for like hat tricks. So they became rat tricks.
As you do.
Yep. Then also after wins. So that's kind of the thing there.
Someone in that state has to support the fake rat market.
Exactly. Moving's not really concerned. I think they have a pretty good deal to stay at their, now rotating name stadium. And I think the plans for them to move into actual Miami when that lease is up. So that's not really concerned. They are a bit of a younger and funner team, but they are not necessarily young. Like Kachuk's young, but like Barkov isn't as young. Ekblad's not really young. Cap crisis probably upcoming because Bobrovsky's making $10 million, and you really don't need a goalie making $10 million. Not in this cap league. So there's that. Overall though, not too much else that's really kind of crazy there. Very cheap to see a game there, I will tell you that. I mean, you could get season tickets for like $500, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. I've looked it up before to try and do the math to see if it was worthwhile for me to get these, sell everything that I don't want, and then see if I can't make money. And the answer is you probably could. So, solid on the list here. Very much just kind of, they're there. They're solid. As far as vibe teams go, Preds are certainly a vibe team.
Yeah. It's my best friend's favorite team. Best man at my wedding. So that, could
That's
be fun rooting with somebody.
Yeah.
The Funtown travelable, that's Nashville's doable for me.
Definitely.
Haven't won but could, also a vibe.
Yeah.
They seem to have some reason to hate the Penguins, which I can get behind.
That would be because they got screwed in that cup final against the Penguins.
Yeah. And I also, by the way, I like the weird, still having a team in Atlanta energy too. I think
there may be a team in Atlanta. Yeah, there may be putting a team there soon. Yeah,
haven't stopped trying. That's the big creative idea, huh? Good job, NHL.
Hey, look, that's a market. I believe in Atlanta. I believe in them more than a lot of other markets that get suggested.
Hell, even the Braves don't play in Atlanta. Ba-doom.
Well, this team wouldn't be in Atlanta. It'd be like that area just north of Atlanta, the suburbs.
It'd have to be, yeah.
Yeah, they're building an arena, so go for the rich suburbs. But, yeah, an overall party atmosphere in Nashville. They throw catfish on the ice too. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're not particularly good right now, but there is potential for them to get good. I like Andrew Brunette as a coach. Barry Trott's a little improving in the front office there. But, I think he can definitely guide the team. Overall, if you're looking for a buy low type of team, possible sell high type of team, Preds are certainly an option there. That being said, they do play in a difficult conference, so things can change there. But for long haul buys, Preds are not terrible.
No, not terrible. All right.
They certainly are a solid one. I would keep them in the top 5. That's what I would do. Personally.
Okay.
Yeah. I would definitely keep them there. So that's where that is.
Okay.
We got Islanders up next, which I got to be honest, before you even start, I would really just cross this off here. You're getting into like basically the Ice Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have a minor league team called the Railers. That makes me laugh.
Oh, Worcester, yeah.
I don't want to have a team who could in any way encourage interaction with Rangers fans. So, that's a problem. And
we can cross these
New York,
off.
Having a New York team is also a headache.
I was going to say,
I hate a team where I could get there if I want to sit in traffic. Like, launch me into the sun, dude.
I mean, like, here's the
thing,
that's
my
too.
concern.
As far as traffic goes, they're going to be the worst because they're out in Belmont by the racetrack. So not great there. Although it is a nice building. So I will say that much. Yeah. Brand new too. So that's a plus there. Major downsides being they suck and the geriatric runs their team and they're locked into a lot of really bad contracts for a really long time. And there's no real hope on the horizon. So that's not good. Also a negative, they haven't really done anything worth the damn since the 80s. And another negative there is for a short period of time, they were pretty much owned by a guy that didn't have any money. I would encourage you to watch the Big Shot 30 for 30 for more information on John Spano, which is just a hilarious bit there. Also, any team that would willingly choose to employ Mike Milbury and then fire him for the one good decision he made, which is not giving a goaltender a 15-year Bobby Bonilla-esque contract, maybe is not a serious team that should be considered.
So questionable contracts, potentially no way to pay them. It sounds like the San Diego Padres.
No, this is back in the 90s. He just didn't have money for anybody.
Oh, okay.
This is I'll put it to you like this. It'd be like if you managed to parlay yourself into owning Gastonia.
Understood. I feel you now.
Yeah. Only, see, the thing is you'd be more competent than John Spano.
Oh, nice. I'll take that.
Yeah. Honestly, though, if you are looking for a fun laugh and a good read, John Spano's whole thing is phenomenal. It really is great. But, yeah, I would personally, everything about this, I'd steer clear of the Islanders. They are not the kind of team to buy on.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I think we just crossed those off right there. Flyers, real quick. We got a couple more to go through here. Flyers.
Yeah, Flyers, I mean,
obvious.
They're my local team. Broad Street Bullies is a great energy.
Last time there were anything worse,
jersey colors, no notes. I live right next to their minor league team, like literally like 8 minutes away. No time at the present to start rooting for a terrible team. I mean, can't get worse.
That ad, though, on the jersey is pretty horrific, though.
Yeah, don't love that one, man. Yeah.
Plus, they really do suck, and they really haven't won anything since the 70s. And even then, they didn't win much.
Crazy how long it's been.
So, that's something you got to be concerned about there.
Yeah, I really wish they figured out a way to get a black logo. Drives me nuts.
And the main one's black.
Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of vibing with it, kind of not. Obviously, at this point, I've been around them for so long, I'm still not a fan. But I guess, worth keeping them in the conversation.
Yeah, I think leave them on because they're a local team, but when you start really cutting it down, maybe they're on the block here. But right now, you got 7 that are still remaining, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
San Jose Sharks.
We got 4 more for the sake of this sort of run here.
San Jose
I don't know. Never won. Feels relatable. Yep. Reliable for a good playoff run, though, which is kind of a fun energy.
Very good for a long time.
The jersey and the colors are cool. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't really know, but feels like they could be rebuilding, which would suck.
They are rebuilding right now.
As far away as possible.
Yeah. So
I'm well.
Mm-hmm. So immediate downside, of course, being West Coast and rebuilding. That's an immediate downside, no doubt about that. That being said, couple of pros on the San Jose Sharks front. Only real major sports team in San Jose, unless you count the MLS team, which we're not. So that's a huge plus there. Another little cool thing about them, when they drafted their prospect a couple years ago, I believe it was Ozzy Weisblad. his mother's actually deaf. So what they had was they announced the pick, but when they announced it, they had someone do it in sign language. So that way she could see her son getting drafted and read it. So
yeah?
Yeah, so cool. That's a big plus there. That was a huge thing too. So like that a lot. Also, little known fact, they were on my West Conference team for a very, very long time. Liked them because Shark logo was really cool. Overall, general vibes are great over there. They are rebuilding, so you're buying low on that team, admittedly. But again, when they come out east, those are cheaper games, especially right now. There's some young and exciting prospects there. Admittedly, they're kind of on the bottom of the rebuilding trend right now, so they're going to take a little bit of time here, and they are by far the worst team in the league. But if they go ahead and continue to be bad, they're going to get a good draft pick, and that means they're probably going to get Macklin Scalabrini, who is the top pick. He is at BU at the moment, so that is kind of a fun thing to follow along with. Hockey people are really into prospects, arguably more so than baseball, which is saying something a lot. Because there's very few people that would stay up till 3 a.m. watching some random Russian kid. I'm sure, no, I wouldn't be one of them. But overall, San Jose vibes. I don't really have anything else to say. Plus, I do like that their color scheme is a lot different, and that's a positive. And the reverse retros, when they went with the seal ones, were just beautiful, just magnificent. So that's a huge plus too.
Yeah, I think they're definitely worth keeping around.
Yeah, I think you got to leave them there.
That's my thought.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. The only thing is the location, really, and I can deal with losing. It's
Tampa Bay up next here.
Yeah, I mean, look, like they're a well-run organization, which I kind of love. Also, knowing Canada, as I mentioned before, is a plus. The vibes seem cool. They seem like they're a fun team to watch. Or this feels like they're like either fast or like just like kind of cool to watch. Like I don't know. I find usually when I flip on their games, I'm like, oh, like this is fascinating hockey to watch. Also, I would straight up die for the Orlando Solar Bears, their minor league team. So, like, that's a huge thing. I don't really know about their look right now. Their jerseys and all that are weird. And also, I don't want to be a front runner. And, like, I don't know. There's not an amazing vibe around them. Like, it's not a ton of energy. I feel like it's one of those teams where even if there is energy right now, if they start to suck, it would disappear, which is kind of weird. So, I don't know.
So, the thing with Tampa Bay is they go through cycles of being really good and then being complete dog shit. They're kind of at the end of the really good cycle right now. Guys are getting older. They really can't afford to keep them. And they're currently, I think, kind of pissing off their captain. So that's not a great look. But
they're making moves.
Yeah, that's a decision.
The wrong direction.
Yep, they do have a giant Tesla coil in there. And I believe they also have a pipe organ in their arena, too. So not that it really would matter. But that is a cool and a nice touch. The jerseys they have are probably what they're going to keep for like the next 3 or 4 years. And even then, they're probably not going to change them up all that much. So what you get is what you got. They're also one of those teams that does that geo-restricted playoff ticket sale. So kind of some, there's no lotto energy there doing that. So we'll put it like that. So that is something to consider. It would be a little front runnery, not as much as going Vegas, which is up next, but certainly that is a factor there. And surprisingly, that's not one of the teams that annoys Canada, really. Yeah. You would think it would be, but they have a lot of good old Canadian boys on that team.
Okay.
So that's part of it. And then the other part of it is Toronto just beat them to finally end like a 20-year playoff drought of winning in the playoffs. So that kind of eased it over a bit. They didn't like when they were winning championships, but by and large, they got those bubble rings. So that's a factor in it too.
Okay. And then last one.
Well, last two. You got Vegas and you got Seattle.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, that may be enough
Vegas,
to take them off.
Vegas, I mean, I feel like they're fun to watch. I don't know. I don't want to be a front runner. I feel like my negatives are evident on that one because I don't want to be a front runner. I feel like this is weird. The whole night thing, they're super into like the whole like pregame thing. I think it's kind of cringe. But like, I mean, I don't know. Vegas. I like to get a lot of, I mean, Vegas is a fun energy, but I don't know. I'm less sold on them, if I'm honest, but like, I might be missing something. I was kind of half in on that.
Honestly, I just take them off at that point too, because the way they do player transactions is, to be blunt, shitty. They just straight up business. They will cut you out. if they don't think you can help them win. I do respect that dedication to winning, but their players and handling the way they do transactions, not exactly what a pro player guy would love. So,
okay.
Yeah, so maybe.
And then the Kraken, I love. That's new. Haven't really missed anything with them. Cool logo, uniform, but I like the whole aesthetic. Also, probably shouldn't exist, which is a plus for me.
Seattle has.
I love they have an AHL team called the Coachella Firebirds. I don't know if that team's going to stick around, but I think it's funny.
Oh no, they'll stick.
And then I don't know. They already seem like potentially permanently behind the 8 ball. I don't know. Every time I see them, I'm like, is this team going to be okay? Like there's not much energy in the the arena. I don't know.
That's because those tickets are expensive, dude. Jesus, I've looked it up.
All right, good to know.
They're very pricey.
So I'm not sure that's a selling point, but it's good to know.
Fun fact: the lights went out there when the Rangers were playing there last week.
Oh, that's probably fine.
Yeah, so halfway through each period, they have to switch sides. So each team would play in the dark for half a period.
I mean, count it.
Climate Pledge Arena. Also keep in mind their popularity may dip when the Sonics come back too.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I don't need it popular.
Yeah, right. So with that,
I mean, look at me.
Fair. So we got 6, 9. We got 10 teams left here. We got to cut 5 of them.
Okay. Well, I've got.
You cut the Canes, the Jackets, the Islanders, and the Knights so far. I think we could probably cut Seattle.
Jacket. I was going to also say Arizona.
Okay, so we're going to cut the Yotes, and we're going to cut.
I love that jersey, but still, I can't pick a team for the jersey.
You could just buy the jersey if you really want to.
Well, that's weird. Not if I don't cheer for them. That'd be stupid.
I got a jersey collection.
I'm an idiot.
Fine, then you're not going to name my collection. But
all right, no, everyone's going to know that I'm just completely winging it.
All right, so let's cut out Kraken there too. All right, so we got Ducks, we got Panthers, we got Bolts, we got Preds, we got Stars, we got Flyers, we got Sharks, and we got the Oilers.
How many more trying to drop today?
We are trying to drop another 3.
All right, I'm leaning toward the Ducks.
Cutting the Ducks.
Yeah.
All right. Let's cut them out.
And then maybe like Dallas and Tampa.
I was going to say Dallas was one you were on the fence about, so let's cut out Dallas.
Yeah.
All right.
So that would leave me with Philly, Nashville, Florida, Edmonton, San Jose. I think that's good. I can watch a few of those games over the next week or so, like see how I feel about it.
Honestly, I think that's a good decision. So vibe with that. We got the Oilers, the Sharks, the Flyers, the Preds, and the Panthers left on the docket. So
yeah, man. And let me know if you have any opinions. Anybody's still listening to this, which you shouldn't be, frankly.
Honestly, you should be. Hockey talk is the most enthralling part of it. Y'all just wait till like a year from now when I get them on college hockey talk, and then it's just previewing games.
We'll see.
That's the offseason.
I do love.
That's really good.
I do got to get a Princeton game for the season. Kind of wraps up on me before I'm ready for it.
Dude, good news is Ivy League season just started. Those smart boys start late. Yeah. So
nerds.
The nerds aren't allowed to play in October. They got to wait till November. Yeah.
Right. I'll let you know if I end up there.
Yeah, definitely do that. So close it out. Plug your stuff. Then I can plug my stuff, and then we can end this.
Indie Ball Nation got most of the plan going for content for the off season, so I'm excited to start doing some more stuff. Get back on the YouTube channel. So Indie Ball Nation, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff.
That reminds me, we were supposed to at some point go over the whole schedule, but
we will. I didn't even have a concept of what it looked like until this past week. So
all right. So at some point we'll go over that. Indie Ball Pod on the site formerly known as Twitter, and then from there, Indie Ball Report and everything else. Just kind of kick back and enjoy it. I'll have an off-season plan, and we'll start doing some stuff soon. And in a week, and next week is actually Princeton's home openers. Their home opening series. Yellow and brown they play. So good to know.
Thank you.
So on that note, the hockey report is concluded. Until the next time we drop the puck, don't forget to play ball.